Hello, it's Susan at Seaside Stitches, and thank you ever so much for joining me on my channel. And I just wanted to do a bit of an update. For March, I just did the challenge for the So Frugal and the So Yellow for Endo. And April, I had set myself this, just very quietly, I had set myself to have a number of unfinished garments that have been that were started last year in April or something like that. One was, that's the little shirt. I don't need to go into what they are, but I thought that April for me was going to be kind of a free month to practice. I haven't actually done any buttonholes. I haven't sewn any buttonholes at all on my new machine, and I've had that a year last August. So I wanted to have free rein at doing lots of buttonholes, having a good practice, learning how to do an invisible zip, and there was something else I can't go. Oh, and adding some low bust adjustments to a lot of my patterns. Not a lot, but several patterns, and also finishing a shirt. Yes, so that was the thing I wanted to do, just kind of have a free month of practice. But what happened was I had committed myself just after Christmas to a little yellow guy, the guy from Wobbly Life, and I did mention it in, I don't know, 2 videos before this. I could put a number on the screen if anyone wants to go back to it, but my grandson wanted a wobbly guy from a computer game called Wobbly Guy. Well, I'll just cut to him now. You see, in fact, I shall bring him over. This is his head, and this is his body. Whoops. And I have yet to find a way. I'll insert a picture. I have yet to find a way to put him a head on. So I could go into details, but I probably won't. This marvellous way of making a ball or making a head came from, I will credit them in my description, in the description box below. Can't remember the name at the moment, but it was trying to work out how to work out the diameter, how to get an actual ball. And you do a calculation and you draw some lines and you do some, and with a compass, and it all works out, and everything is done for you in the measurements that she gives you. You just translate that into your own measurements. It doesn't matter. So I created this and I'm really pleased with it. And I didn't, he has to have 2 very big, just very plain black fabric eyes yet. My complication is, how on earth do I fix him on? Fix it. I've left this back. I've tried different ways of working out how to do this. And that's my conundrum at the moment. So he has taken me weeks and weeks of thinking time, and the actual sew was really quite simple, and I went through making a pair of pyjama trousers, adding on the curve on the bottom of the leg, but now I realise that he doesn't actually have a curve on the bottom of the leg. He has a curve on the rounded out arms, doesn't have hands and feet. And I made a little, this was pattern from a sweatshirt that I just made up as a toile to see how I could fit it all together. Well, that's the other sleeve when I extended it, because he's got quite long arms and all he does is this. So, but it's difficult when you always just use a pattern, and when someone gives you an idea of, a request to do something that there isn't a pattern for, I can explain about my journey. At first, I thought, it was that he wanted the wobbly guy, but he wanted it his size so that he can dress it in his own clothes. And I'm like, well, how on earth am I going to do that? So first of all, I sent for this pattern. Fortunately, Minerva had a series of pattern offers. I sent for this because I thought that should be really simple, because I can just make it up and thin the legs a little bit and make that more into an actual ball or head, and then that would be fixed on. But when I opened it, it was very babyish pattern, very wide, very much more like for a nappy. So I put that one on one side. Then I sent for a bigger one because he's 7. He's quite a small 7, but anyway, I sent for this, which covers from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. And this again is very, very baggy. When you see it, it's very baggy. And I thought, okay, well, I can do that and then trim it in. But when I got the pattern pieces, they were huge and they were all, it was just massive. It was a whole complicated mess to have done it. And that hood is not the same as that hood, and all these complications that, because I just didn't know how to do it. Then I hit on doing the little sweatshirt top in the white cotton just to test it, and that was a free pattern from Simply Sewing that I'd had for ages. Then I got this free one for ages ago that I thought, when will I ever use that? I don't want it, I don't need it. And then I thought, well, I'll use the pants from it. And in doing that, I realised without thinking, I cut out the bits for the pocket. So it originally had pockets cut out as well. So I had to just find a piece of fabric to cover that in. This is just my explanation or excuse of why it's taken me so long to get to this point. So that was the sweatshirt. It was just trying to find sizes that may match up with his sizes, and they live 250 miles away, so it's not something I could just nip round the corner, measure him. And I likened it to making like a gingerbread man or a jelly baby. And from that, I'd spotted this pattern, because I thought it's just a case of rounding arms and I can elongate those legs. But actually, when I got this pattern, all this is all one piece. So I could elongate the legs, but the arms were fixed. So there we were, arms fixed. I thought I could adapt that, and everything was another job to do this, that and the other with. And then I looked at quite a few YouTube tutorials on toy making and putting heads on, but it wasn't the same thing I was after, and I couldn't find exactly the right thing. So then I got a pattern for a ragdoll. This has been pattern mania, where I've been on a frugal kick and only sewing from my stash and not increasing my patterns for myself, and I ended up with this bag full of stuff. So even that, you've got a head and a neck, and I've had to, whoa, yes. So that didn't, I was going to scale that up, but that's not right either. And then I spotted this. Now, our other grandson, he loves something called sats. Now, I'm not sure if he made up what a sat is, but it's a special kind of creature, has no hands, no arms or legs, and very much like this, just rounded off, very cute, very plush material, very squishy, beautiful, just for how he likes to get the comfort from things like that, and he likes cute things. So I thought, well, in any case, I will use that for him. But this was another example of how I may have put on quite a big head onto the body. So I had a go at that, and the head came out like this, and when I wear it in a photo, it just looks like a dumpling that I'd made for some broth. And I still didn't know how I could size that up for this chap here, you see. So as you realise, this is not really a serious video. And I'm getting really hot in here. I'm in a different room. We have moved rooms about in our house, and I've just been exhausted by that as well. We have taken down furniture, re-erected furniture, carried furniture downstairs, upstairs, re-erected it, moved things around. It's just been very, very busy over the last several weeks. So I have moved my sewing area upstairs only kind of a couple of weeks after I finally finished a video of welcome to my sewing room, and this is here and this is there. So everything is all over the place. Anyway, this is as far as I got, and then I just thought I'm gonna just do it. So I cut it out and I kind of joined it together. Had several ways of how to attach the head while it was open at the back or while it wasn't open. This just turns into a hot air balloon. So if I take this out, it squishes down to several segments like I just had where I've lost it there. It just is like that, like a parachute almost, So if I measured it and attached it on a measure and then plumped it up again, it could be it could end up like a lantern shape. So anyway, I'm glad I'm having fun about it now because it's been a bit just because I couldn't get on with it. But I have some photos of him laying on the table, and we'd found the pattern weights that I'd got that I can't reach now. Big washers like Michelle uses at Sewing Bunny, and quite a few people use it. They are just the right size for his eyes. So I've got some of that applique backed paper that I can stick to some black fabric and applique them on to the head when I know where it's going to sit. So I'm still on this journey with it, and we went a fortnight ago and I was hoping to take it down for appraisal from our Toby, but then I thought, anyway, so, but we're now going again in a fortnight and I want to have finished it and he's waiting for it. Even if I take it and we realise that it needs shorter legs or this and that, I'm happy to alter it. But I would like to have a finished article, because at the moment it's landed with my unfinished articles of a shirt that needs doing, a t-shirt that was for a Sew Joey challenge last June. I think she's having another one this June. A dress that I've still not hemmed, which isn't a rush, but in not hemming it, I've realised I would like a frill on it, so I've bought some extra fabric for that. And then I suppose I'll just move on. I didn't actually get this for the wedding, but we are going to a wedding towards the end of June. And I had been looking at some different fabrics of what I would like to use for a dress for it. And I do have a dress that I could wear, which is my favourite me-made dress that I made in 2020. But I'd rather wear something a bit flowy and maybe with a frill on the bottom. And I treated myself, it was really quite scary. I treated myself though to this art gallery fabric, and it is just beautiful. It's just flowy, beautiful fabric, and I wasn't sure in not seeing it in a shop whether it was too dark for me. I knew the colours would suit me okay, but whether it would still be a bit drab. I don't like off shades, as I'm often saying on here. But I do like the kind of jadey background, and I do have a pink jacket that I could wear it with. And I bought it, and it is rayon chalice, rayon chalice, you know, it's rayon chalice. But the rayon challis is, Andrea had it at Beyond the Pink Door, but I'd got a voucher for another online shop and I got it from there. But I'd had it in my basket for so many days and I kept going back to it. No, I'm not going to have it. Now it's a lot of money with unseen, and then I wasn't going to pay £2 just to have a sample square of it. So anyway, I bought it and I love it. And then I watched how to sew rayon and lifting pins and needles with Karina, who is absolutely amazing. Her videos are awesome. She puts so much effort into making things, explaining things, sharing things, her ideas, her commitment to sewing. And she talked all about rayon and how it can be very tricky and how it can fall apart once you've washed it if you don't treat it right, when it's wet, all these things. And then it frightened me even more about whether I'm going to sew it or not. And one of the things I saw on 2 or 3 different videos about how to look after it, how to sew it, were always finish your raw edges before you put it in the washer to, and there you go. Always finish them, so overlock them, either bring your edges together, overlock them, and then just trim that piece off once you've washed it and dried it. And I knew all this, and I still hadn't washed it, and then I put it away again, and then I thought I'm going to get that washed and sorted, because one day I will finish this and allow myself, this yellow man, and allow myself to move on to something for me. And so I don't know what the heck I was thinking, but I came home the other day and I picked it out of the drawer and I shoved it in the washing machine. I did only do it on 30, but I did it on a 12 1200 spin speed, and it wasn't as I was about to get it out that I thought, oh, I didn't didn't neaten the edges, I didn't sew the edges, I didn't protect the edges, and now I've got all this thread and fraying and all sorts. So I'm just going to deal with it how I would normally deal with anything. Wash it. Well, I've washed it. Press it on the wrong side, I reckon, and just cut it out and do what I'm doing with it. So if it doesn't work, I'll make something of it if what I want doesn't work. But at the moment, I don't know what pattern to use. So I don't want to use a pattern that I haven't adjusted for a low bust. Now this is fine, and it would need a low bust adjustment if I do it in woven. This, because it's stretchy, it doesn't matter. But I just love this dress. I love the way it feels. I love the swing and sway of it. But it's, I don't know whether it's viscose or what, but it sews like cotton jersey. It sews like that. And I bought another metre, possibly 1.5 meters, I'm not sure, recently. When I went in for the 1/2 metre for the putting on the bottom of the yellow lion dress, which I'll pop a picture in. My second one of these. I love it. And it's got my sleeves, as per usual. Yep, really nice fit. Very pleased with it. Still to hem it, but we're getting there. Very cute fabric. That was in Fabrics at Fleetwood. I like it in there because I can see things, I can feel things, I can work out what they would do, what they wouldn't. They don't have a massively quick turnaround, so I can come back and think about it, then go again. It's only, I don't know, 7 miles down the road from me, so that's easy. I've bought a piece because I want to make a Bondi, don't know if they're called Bondi 22, but it's a Sinclair Patterns. I've done 5 Sinclair Harper cardigans now, and it's a free pattern, and I feel like because they are drafted, the bust is where I need it to be. Okay, it's only a cardi, and the arms are where I need them to be, and it's so much simpler. So I thought I would buy some Sinclair patterns before I buy any other patterns, because I use the tall version and everything seems to be in the right place for that. So I bought the Bondi 22 is t-shirts, but you've got several options with the sleeves. I'm not particularly bothered about the sleeves. I'm just, the fact that the bodice is likely to be drafted more for my shape, more for my length of a torso. So that's what I'm hoping to make one of these out of. No, I'm hoping to make one of those out of this kind of fabric, or this actual fabric, because I just feel really kind of joyous when I'm wearing it. It's really just cheery, and it goes with so many things, and I know it washes well and it's fine. I do like the Freya top, but it doesn't fit me. I can't get a good fit on it unless I draft it differently, and I don't want to do that. I want to just get something, cut it out, sew it, and it fit me. And at some point I will go back to the Freya top, but at the moment I just want to try that. So I feel also that I kind of owe Sinclair Patterns my custom, because they've been, in producing that free pattern, it's just been amazing to give me the confidence to sew it in the first place, then realise it's right for me, then do another in a rust, and then and now the yellow one for Endo, and I wanted a bright yellow ochre cardigan, and also the little one I've done with the pink, that's just cotton jersey. That's such an easy just throw on over a t-shirt, so I like that. And there's a couple of sweatshirts. I don't know that I'd have them as actual sweatshirts, but I like a fitted jumper. So I bought Linear, I think it's called. I've got that pattern too. So anyway, enough of that. My only popping on was to say, April kind of came and went. I didn't really, well, I've been busy on things, on this all the time. And May, I probably won't have produced this by the end of May, and I'm all right with that. As long as I finish Little Wobbly Guy, I'll be very happy. So I don't want to have things that are timed. I don't want anything that's hassle. At the moment, we've got a difficult situation. We have new neighbours, and the neighbours we had a really mature garden, and their shrubs went up to our shrubs, and we just kind of merged things. We weren't really particularly, boundary didn't come up because there was no breaching of the boundaries. If I had a few branches on their side, they had a few branches on our side. it wasn't an issue. Unfortunately, we've got new neighbours who have different thoughts about that and have actually taken out every plant that was butting up to my boundary where all my shrubs are. And that's fine, they're entitled to do that. I'm happy to kind of level mine off, but I couldn't just do it on the day they were doing the thing. And what I found was they were kind of ripping some branches off mine that I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, may have got tangled in theirs, and they'd ripped some of the stalks or branches or whatever. It's not a high garden, and also have a rockery at the end. They also, our other neighbours, had a rockery on this side. Thankfully they weren't joined together, but as they've taken all their rockery out, quite a high part of my rockery now, our rockery, is now exposed. And we're coastal, so we've got lots of winds and salt weather and all sorts of things, but which is fine. It's just a matter of, I've now felt I had to go out and tackle my garden, because we had my mum for 2 years and she was very poorly. I think 6 days solid I've been out in the garden. It's been great because I've got loads done. I've sorted all sorts of mess out and found shrubs I'd forgotten I'd got. And because when we first came, we'd only got, you pop things in and you don't know if they're going to survive because it's a different area to where we were before. And then I've found that while I thought they'd failed, I've put something in front of it. And now I've realised there's kind of 3 things in a row that I hadn't been aware of. So I've quite a lot to do outside as well. So I'm feeling better and on top of it, but it is quite upsetting to find out that while they were sorting theirs out recently, he'd looked up to see had I left the garden, and I just looked out of the window, just kind of appraising how far I've got, and I noticed him lean into where my rockery is and saw a piece of branch off. And it's kind of like, why would you do that? But that would be to stop one of the cotoneaster. I haven't had a chance to cut that back, but obviously he's not fond of it, that it may trail onto his garden, but it was actually over our boundary, the branch to it. So it's been a bit upsetting, and I may not leave this in this video, but I am just having a vent. But it's meant that we have a garden bin collection. When I started doing this, our bin was already full, and it's a fortnightly collection, and I can't put any more in it. So I've just got piles on the garden of things that need to be taken to the recycling centre, or to wait for the bin to be emptied tomorrow and then fill it again and it not be emptied for a fortnight. So anyway, I really appreciate anyone who's still watching or has watched any of my videos. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for giving me a thumbs up. If anyone has got any comments about how to attach this blinking head, I'd really appreciate it. Our son and daughter-in-law are moving house, and that's only just kind of happened. They put the house on the market. It was sold the next day. They went to see a house that they quite liked the day after, so it was all really quick and, well, we'd like to put an offer in and not all this. And so June we may be needed with family to help out while they're doing things towards the move, or not, I don't know. So I'm giving myself an easy ride. You know, if I want to sew, I'm going to be up here and I'm going to be sewing, and I'm going to be really pleased I can do that. If I can't sew, I'm not going to be too depressed about it, because I'll be being purposeful in another way somehow. So yes, that's it for me well, they're not May plans. It's not what I made in April. It's not, I don't know what it is really. It's just a catch up. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you soon. And if you would subscribe, I'd be really grateful. Thank you. Bye.